Okay, are we good? Are we good? Are we good? I guess so. Here we go. All right. So this is Travis from Carter Cow Capital, helping you fight for your financial freedom throughout the forex market. I hope everybody's doing very well on this Tuesday evening, well, Monday evening. I'm jumping ahead of myself. Hopefully everybody's doing very well. It's been basically a week since I've been able to talk to everybody on TradingView. So I hope everybody's doing very well. Hopefully everybody end up having a very good trading week and everything else that ends up going along with that as we get through with everything else. If you're new or if you're unfamiliar with what I end up doing, I've been trading for the last 6 years. What I end up doing is go about 25 to 30 minutes being able to take a look at what's happening when it comes down to the overall trading day and being able to see if there's any other opportunities that you may want to be able to get into as we be able to go through the market. So glad to be able to see everybody here. Glad to be able to see the people that end up going through. I don't know if TradingView is already going to fix the overall page when it comes down to the messages and everything else. So I'm just going to write hi. We'll see if that works. No, it didn't. So we refresh and we'll go from a new page and see if it actually works from there. I wrote hi. Okay. There we go. So let's go ahead and get through it. Let's go ahead and go through. Let's go ahead and go through the disclaimer, get everything else done, and then after that we end up going. And we end up going from there. I don't know if y'all hear my son. He ended up just put everybody down. That's the reason why I was late. All right, so here we go. Not a CTA, so I'm not going to tell you whether to buy or sell. What I'm going to do is teach you education, and from that education, you can be able to make your own informed decision. Now, I understand that trading involves risk. It involves risk of being able to make money. Also involves risk of being able to lose money. So please keep that in mind. And understand that past performance is not indicative of future results, which means that if you end up making money yesterday, it's not promised that you can end up making money today. So with that being said, as we go through and be able to take a look at different trading opportunities and everything else like that may end up showing up, essentially what we end up doing is this. We always start off with the economic calendar to be able to see what's happening with the overall market, to be able to see what happened earlier today, and then after that, to be able to see what happened in the future. And then from there, what we end up doing is taking a look at about 3 major pairs that have major correlations, really 4. We end up taking a look at the United States dollar index. We end up taking a look at oil. We end up taking a look at gold. Then after that, we end up taking a look at Bitcoin for the people that love to be able to trade cryptocurrency. And we end up going from there as a way of being able to ensure that everyone knows what's actually happening when it comes down to those pairs. Hey, what's going on, Steve? Where you been? Go Silver. I actually end up getting banned for a week. End up getting banned for a week because I end up sending out a message about some stuff that basically solicitation. It is what it is. But with that being said, one good thing that ended up coming out of it, I was actually able to be able to upgrade everything onto a premium, up to a premium package and everything else like that. So for the people that are on this platform, as a premium member, you have some stuff down at the bottom of the screen that you can be able to work with. So there you go. But no, everything's been good, Steve. I hope everything's been going well with you. Obviously, on other channels and everything else like that, you've been able to see, or hopefully been able to see some of the stuff that we've been doing and kind of going from there. But either way, let's go ahead and take a look at what ended up happening today. We ended up having GDP actually just come out about a few hours ago. It actually ended up being a negative 0.3 compared to what it was expected to be. The consensus was 0.3. The number actually ended up being negative 0.3. So we'll see how that kind of affects the overall market. Going into tomorrow, we're going to end up having climate count change. That's kind of like initial jobless claims when it comes down to the United States dollar. And then after that, we're going to end up having GDP for the Eurozone at 5 a.m. So being able to pay attention to what's happening with the Eurozone and how that's going to end up affecting the overall market will end up being one of the things that we will focus in on today. So when we go to our Forex pairs and some of the pairs that we end up paying attention to, I will look at EU, I will look at EJ, and a few other different pairs as we go through. I brought some crazy EV stocks down in the dumpster. Are you still on, what was it? Something VAC. Man, I ended up taking a look at it. I got an alert on it one time before, but I'll take a look at it again, Steve, and we end up going back from that. I got to take a look at it again and kind of go from there. So let's go ahead and go and take a look at what's happening with the overall charts, and we'll kind of be able to make a decision on what's happening from there. So last time we ended up talking about this, market ended up breaking this overall low with 12,282. We ended up saying that was going to end up being a natural support. It broke down below 12,282, and then on Thursday, it broke down below 13,251, which was the true consolidation area. When the market ended up breaking down, it ended up falling down to our overall take profit that we ended up having last week. And from there, the market has started to retrace a little bit. So remember, anytime that there's a breakout, typically you end up seeing a retracement. Once you end up seeing that retracement, then after that, you can be able to make your move from there overall when it comes down to being able to get in. So just keep that in mind as you go through and being able to take a look at these overall trading opportunities. Anytime that you see a breakout, typically you end up seeing a retest. That means to me, there's no move to be able to get into it. And that was one of the things that I ended up saying this morning. There's really no move to be able to get into overall when it came down to most of these trading pairs because the market has to retrace a little bit before being able to make a move. So United States dollar index is kind of cold right now at this particular point. On the Wednesday, obviously we have GDP that's going to end up coming out for so many different groups. So we got retail sales coming out for the United States dollar. We have CPIs is coming out for the pounds, and you know how that end up moving the United States dollar. And then after that, we end up having CPIs from the Canadian dollar and unemployment rate from the Australian dollar on Wednesday. So Wednesday is going to be a big day overall. So kind of moving back into that, we'll kind of see how the market's going to end up reacting. Premium is great unless you get a bunch of indicators. Yeah, it does. Red. What's going on, E30? I hope everything's going well with you. Yeah. So oil, let's talk about it real quick. So oil, last time we ended up talking about this, I think last week at this particular point in time, the market had pushed all the way up to 93, and then when it pushed all the way up to 93, it started to reject. It ended up making a little bit of a double top. Well, it did end up making a double top from this position right here and right here. From there, the market has moved back inside of consolidation. We do have a solid consolidation right around that 82.50 area. And the market is basically in the middle of this consolidation. So when I end up noticing that there was consolidation, for the people that do know me, they do know that I don't like trading inside of consolidation. That's not my deal. I like trading on the outside of it. I don't like fighting to only win 33% of my trades. Essentially what I'm looking at right now is if the market breaks below 84.50, then I'll look at being able to sell all the way down to 77.11 again. If the market breaks above 93, then after that we'll look at being able to go to 94.59. And then of course to the daily D extension, which is like at 104 or something like that. So oil right now, really nothing to be able to do at this particular point. I'm going to stay away and we'll kind of go from there. Last one, gold. How did gold do today? I didn't pay attention to gold. Okay, so gold. Last week, what we ended up saying was that we wanted to get in at 1671. Market broke above 1671, had a major push, consolidated again, ended up hitting take profit 2 at 1740, and then after that, the market currently is at 1770. There's a D extension that's still out there that's going to end up being at 1800, which is the top of this overall consolidation block. I do expect that the market will continue to push up towards that level based off of the daily move and be able to complete that. So that is the mindset when it comes down to this movement. Keep in mind that the market is a little bit overbought, but to be honest, that really does not mean that much to me at this particular point in time. We had an indecision candlestick yesterday. It would not surprise me, especially going into when retail sales come out, that the United States dollar still remains to be a little bit weak, which will end up pushing up these markets to be able to hit the extension overall when it comes down to that movement. So currently right now, once again, nothing to be able to do on those, but we'll see how the market kind of ends up playing itself out and we'll go from there. And that is about it when it comes down to that. So there we go. Let's go into Bitcoin. Let's see what's happening with Bitcoin. Hopefully it didn't break before I was able to place in the trade. There we go. So it did go down to 15. It did go down to 15,800. 15,800 was a natural support that we were talking about on Sunday. Okay. I remember now. Okay, got it. Okay, so earlier this morning, in our morning session, what I ended up talking about was that the market kept on falling down and fell down to 15,800. 15,800 was basically the body of um, this candlestick right here before it actually ended up falling. So because the body of this candlestick was right there, and because the actual low or the support of that candlestick was right there, it actually ended up creating a new support, which will end up being at 15,800. The resistance was at 18,240. 18,240 was the past resistance right here that could turn into future support. We end up getting as close up to an 18,156 as a way of being able to push up. And I do expect that the market will get up towards that overall area. Now, what does that mean? That means that the United States dollar is going to end up being weak. Does that make sense? Yes, it does. But I think it's going to take a little bit more of a slower time to be able to get up towards that level. The FTX scandal and everything else like that really end up rocking the market a little bit. I don't think it's going to end up rocking it enough to be able to push it all the way down to 12,655, in which I do think that it's going to get down there at some point in time. But ultimately, hopefully that can be able to help. This can be able to help out some of those long-term holders to be able to push the market back up to where it was. Market's done fell even below the 2020 lows or 2020 start points when the market started to rocket off. So we'll see how the market kind of plays out. Cryptocurrency right now is kind of really fluctuating, especially being bearish at this particular point in time. But let's see. If silver push outs above 2209 and holds, it's all the way up. Big thing. The ones for FTX, I think, would be around 24, in my opinion. Probably would be, Block, to be honest. We already looked at gold, so since Steve is in the building, we always take a look at silver. Let's see. What's going on with silver? It's been a while since I took a look at silver. From a weekly perspective, last time we ended up taking a look at this, there was a consolidation area. There was a consolidation support area right around the 21 area, 2140. It broke, but okay, never mind. Let me rephrase that. Yeah, it was right around 2140. Market ended up breaking below that. There was the extension that was expected to get hit at 1667. Since then, the market has started to push back up. Obviously, that's based off of United States dollar weakness, not necessarily because of silver, but just based off of United States dollar weakness. There is a, hypothetically, we do know that there is a support. That support is right there. Now, if the market starts to, if the United States dollar starts to gain a little bit of strength, it'll end up being right around 2250. So you're saying 2209. If it holds above 2209, then you think that it can be able to go all the way up. So Steve, I would say that 2209 is not necessarily the number where I would kind of say that it's ready to go. I would say that it has to break above 2250. If it breaks above 2250 and closes above 2250, then it has a good chance of being able to get all the way back up at some point in time. I'm not gonna say now, but I'm gonna say at some point in time, back up to this overall body right around 28. But currently, right now, if I'm in it or if I was taking a look at it, question would be, would I look at being able to do anything with it right now? Me personally, no. If you missed out on it, there's no reason to jump into it right now. Once again, that's if you missed out on it. There's no reason to jump into it right now. If you're a long-term holder, a long-term believer, then go ahead and keep on doing what you're doing. But 2250 is the area that has to be able to break, Steve. I keep for the ticket of the flying car company. I forgot, what is the flying? Okay, XPath. There we go. XPath. I'm like, I had an alert, and the alert went off like last week sometime, or I know when it went off. It went off when the United States had, what was the news that ended up happening last Wednesday? It wasn't CPI, interest rate decisions. When an interest rate decision ended up coming out, it ended up popping above that overall area. And then from there, I haven't seen what happened from there. Oh, nice, nice, nice. Okay. All right. So we'll take a look at it from here. Steve, you know what this you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of, I was literally watching The Wolf of Wall Street, like highlights. Well, not highlights, like clips. I want to say it had to be yesterday. And in the midst of that, they were talking about penny stocks, and that was the first time that um, guy ended up selling one of the penny stocks. He ended up selling for $4,000 or something like that, and everybody was looking at him like, "Hey, how did you do that? Please teach me how to do that." And we've been looking at XPath for the longest and seeing how this market has been falling down to the downside. And I know that you've been a firm believer in it. And we ended up taking a look at it when the market was down at 6. And since then, the market has broke above 864 and now started to retrace a little bit. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's a bad thing. That just means that it's in a great position to be able to have its breakout, its retracement, and then after that, look at being able to get in. So I don't know. You've been bringing this up for the longest, and I think that I might end up just getting in with you from a long term perspective, just because you've been so much of a believer in it. Um, let's see. Let's see. About another flying copy called Joby, another EV company called. They were supposed to announce earnings today that I did not see. If China goes up today, I think it'll be up again tomorrow. But I am long on it. Yeah, yeah. What's wrong, Tuck? But yeah, like let's see, like you end up saying. I mean, I am. Uh, that'll be something that I pay attention to. It is something. It is something now that's on my radar. Well, it's been on my radar, obviously, because you've been talking about it so much. Uh, but I want to see how this market kind of reacts off of that. So this is what we have. Let's go to the hour and take a look at the hourly candles. So market was in consolidation. I ended up saying that the market broke above. I didn't. Matter of fact, I know what I said. We talked about it when the market was down here and said that if it ended up breaking above 696, then after that you had a chance. Market gapped above that area. Once it ended up gapping, it ended up pushing all the way up to 834. Came back down to down to this high volume node at 677. Pushed all the way back up to 834 again, and then finally broke out. So basically, we had a breakout. We're looking at a retest again. A retest area will end up being around 835. Ooh, come here. It will end up being around 835, but the high volume node, the resistance point will end up being right around 819. If it stays above that overall area with a counter trend line break, then I think that Steve, you might see this thing start to roll a little bit, uh, and kind of go from there. So uh, that would be the thing that I'll be paying attention to. Obviously, 930 bill will end up being a little bit more different when it comes down to that, seeing how the market would react off of it. But I can see that happening. I can see it keep on pushing up. Let's see. Bought another car company called Joby. I'm just gonna take a look. Just gonna take a look at it real quick. Same deal. Same double bottom. This one hasn't broken out of consolidation yet, but same double bottom. Well, not really. Uh, Joby has a little bit of a ways to be able to go. Anything above 469 will probably end up being the area to look at being able to start truly pushing. But if you can be able to catch it right around 388, will probably end up being a better spot. AVRL or ARVL. Jeez. Well, all of these took a hit. I wonder why all of these peaked right around, because all of them peaked right around the same time. What was so significant about December 7th, 2020 of why the market ended up pushing from there? Is that the first case of, that wasn't the first case of the coronavirus, was it? Let's see. See, Bears the Virgin for XPing that bad boy on the floor. Maybe it's me. We take a look at it from a weekly perspective. I'm finally seeing a counter trend line break. That to me is finally a counter trend line break. And at the least, hypothetically, if it does break that area, then with any type of good news, I can see it go up to 1460. I can see it go up to 1460 relatively. I'm not going to say quickly, but I can see it go up to 1460. And then after that, if it breaks above that $17 area, then after that, it's going to push back up to 23. And depending on how much you end up getting in at that particular point in time, then I mean it pays for itself then. On a 1 hour. Okay. Might as well use this premium membership to my advantage. Let's take a look at RSI divergence with alerts. Well, there goes your bearish divergence right there. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a breakout and a retest block. Yeah. All right, cool. I think AVR at 39, risk a few $100s on it. I mean, let's think about this, Steve. Let's be honest. If one of these things pop for you, even at 39 cents, if this goes all the way back up to what 35, I mean, good Lord, how much would that be? I know how to read charts. I'm not necessarily the greatest mathematician in the world, but I do know that would be a pretty good penny. Yeah, I do know that that'll be a pretty good penny. All right, so let's go with what we know. High volume node, or as much as a high volume node that you're gonna get. Consolidation. There goes your vortex area right there. Free run area went all the way up here. Now, with that being said, typically when you end up seeing a free run area, then after that you got to see consolidation. There has not been a consolidation built out yet. Here was a low that ended up happening at 44. Steve, I don't think it'll fall down to 44 again. I don't think it'll fall down to 39 again, unless for some reason, if it does fall all the way down, it may end up 39. It would be a breakout and a retest. Um, it already fulfilled that gap to the upside, so that's already been taken in place. We're going based off of Fibs. There goes your low. There is your first movement right there. Your second movement would end up being right here. Yeah, I don't think it's going back down to 39, see. I don't think so. Sweet spot in this area probably end up being right around 41. If it breaks below 39, then that means it's going to fall more. Yeah. Because this is a new ABCD swing that we're at right now at this particular point. Draw this out real quick. A, B, C, D. Okay, so that has already happened, which means that the new Fibs or projected Fibs will end up being from here to here. Which means that we're in the sweet spot already. Yeah, so I'll see how that kind of plays itself out. That would be the position where I look at being able to play itself out. If it falls below 39, then there's something wrong. I've been seeing too many markets basically end up giving that counter trend line break type of feel now. The market is actually trending than it is anything else, and that kind of brings me to what's happening with US 30. All right, so US 30, what are we looking at? Let's see. Juicer 100X. Brian, what's going on? What's going on, big dog? Um, I bought it. I brought it with hopium. Oh, I bought it at 36. Brian, I'm out. 039 of copium. All right, here we go. So let me get this off the screen. I don't want to look at that. Earlier today, I ended up having the thought process of being able to say, or even on Sunday, I ended up saying that I was willing to be able to wait to see how the market was going to end up moving. I said the same thing about NAS 100, even though I felt that NAS 100 would end up having a better move overall. From a daily perspective, we can see that this market has been pushing back up to the upside and end up completing that big phase that we ended up talking about last week, which got the market up to 33,800. Since then, the market has basically failed at the natural resistance of this large consolidation move from 38 all the way to 34,200. So I'm saying it right now. The next bullish push will end up being from 33,800 to 34,100 or 150 when it comes down to the next biggest push. Now, with that being said, we're seeing the market that's starting to be able to go back into a little bit more favor. But the question is, are we looking at a channel of the market moving to the downside from a long-term perspective, or are we looking at this thing really kind of break above these overall highs and really start to push back into levels that we were in earlier last year at this particular point? So from a high volume node perspective, we end up hitting the top of this overall resistance at 33,960, and since then the market has failed. We take a look at it from an hourly perspective. We end up having that big, large push that end up happening to the upside, and then after that started to consolidate a little bit. I'm sorry. Um, we end up having this consolidation. It broke out of that 32,900 area. We end up saying that it was going to go to 33,800. It did do that. From there, the market has built up another consolidation area. Now, keep this in mind. Since October, the market has been doing a lot more counter trend line break type of movements. So counter trend line break to be able to push up here, counter trend line break back up, counter trend line break here, 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 and there. All of those would end up being winners depending on the way that you end up taking a look at it. This is the first time that I've seen a counter trend line break with a market that's really fell back inside of that area. So currently, right now, instead of this being a counter trend line break, this is now another natural consolidation. So there goes our resistance. Here goes our natural support. I'm going to say that is the support, which means that I think that the market will fall again going into tomorrow, which means that the United States dollar index is going to get bullish, which kind of makes sense because the United States dollar has to retrace before being able to see any retail sale news from tomorrow or on Wednesday that may end up happening. So I am of the thought that the market is in a consolidated area. With that being said, I am not doing anything off of NOS. I'm sorry, off of US 30. Off of US 30. Won't do anything off of US 30 at this particular point. I won't do anything off of that move. Okay, NOS 100 will end off on this one. Block and Brian did exactly what we talked about on Sunday. It did the exact thing that we talked about on Sunday, which is funny. Um, and for the people that are not familiar, what I ended up saying was this: market was in consolidation. Um, we ended up getting the news from CPI's market ended up pushing up 1,000 points. They ended up saying that there was an opportunity to be able to get into it. I think it was an opportunity to be able to get into it when the market had broke a counter trend line break somewhere around here. And I said that I wasn't going to jump into it because I didn't feel comfortable with the move. I felt like, based off of Sunday, that there had to be some other type of movement to be able to happen before being able to get in. That's exactly what ended up happening. The market didn't break a full counter trend line break until 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock earlier this morning. And from there, I ended up saying that more than likely what would happen was it'll probably end up hitting a double top at 11,860. And that's exactly what it did. It went up to 11,860, fell down. Currently, right now, we have a true form of consolidation. So I'm going to get rid of this counter trend line break. And that trend line right there, there is our natural consolidation area at this particular point. I got to figure out what's going to end up being low off of this one. We do not have a defined low yet. We do have 11,700 and 11,700 be right there. And that does make sense when it comes down to just a overall value standpoint because it's right around a whole number. But really no area as of yet. So simply put, market breaks above 11,860. Then after that, we'll look at being able to ride it all the way up to 11,960. That'll be a 100-point move that you can be able to get into for it to take profit position. So entry will be right there. Stop loss will mess up the trade because we're being very honest. The stop loss will have to be below the volume high volume node or the peak of the high volume node when it comes down to that position. That makes this a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio. And if that is the case, then I'm not interested. We don't have a swing high yet. I'm sorry, a swing low yet that we can be able to work off of. That's a 1-to-1 trade right there. So Nas, I am officially not interested in that move unless we're looking at being able to get out at 12,084, which is the 1 hour pocket that has not been fulfilled yet. So now it's 100. I'm officially saying I'm not interested. Yeah. All right. So good to go. We're gonna end it off right here. Good way of being able to get back onto the platform. Like I said, I'm a premium member now, so it comes with its own perks and everything else like that. Which is, I guess, we see how that ends up working. If you like what I end up doing, please make sure that you end up clicking on that boost button. I do appreciate everyone that end up popping in on this. Been a while since I've been able to talk to everybody, so good to be able to talk to everybody when it came down to that. Like always, make sure that you end up planning your trade your plan. Or remember, um, keep in mind, you're going to be able to create your own luck, so you're going to have to be a risk taker. And that's the only way that we end up doing it. Everyone, take it easy. Bye.